How's it going, everyone? Session here. Welcome to a Final Fantasy XIV tier list. Now, this is the official tier list, as you see here, in terms of all of the current ultimates. And with the futures rewritten ultimate on the horizon coming to us in the next, I wanted to talk about just kind of which fights we will be seeing and kind of what to expect boss fight wise, and how it will kind of translate into the ultimate when it happens in a couple weeks. So, here we have the bosses for the Eden Savage Raids, and now the tier list is going to be listed in terms of which bosses will be appearing, in terms of whether it's confirmed, whether they might just like appear somehow. There could be a mechanic, and maybe they'll show up, and then there's just like no chance. So, starting off in order with the first boss of Eden Prime, I'm gonna put Prime in like the maybe category. I'd like to think that there is a possible chance that it will make an appearance doing something, whether there's like a cutscene thing or like a. Honestly, I'd even be more likely to put it in like the mechanics tier. I feel like there's something that the mechanics have for this, whether it's like a delta attack or the what's that move? The Eden's Flare with the which is the donut. There might be the teleportation laser mechanics where they shoot people, that sort of thing could be a possibility. I could even see there being like a transition with like the giant laser potentially. It won't be like a cutscene per se, but it might be a, an appearance in some form. So I feel like mechanically we might see something, because the silhouette of Eden Prime as a whole appears behind the Oracle of Light and Darkness as like a final boss perspective. So I feel like we might get like a little bit of like a thing for that and see how it ties into the storyline. So potentially Eden Prime is a possibility. Now we have E2, the Void Walker. Now, realistically, lore-wise, if you don't know, Void Walker is actually Gaia in armor, but it's also her, like, being controlled by the monster thing, and you gotta kind of like break her free sort of vibe. So I actually, in my mind, was like, oh, she's boss number one. I was like, oh, it's confirmed that it has to be Voidwalker the first phase. But I actually think it's possible that Voidwalker can make an appearance. I feel like it should make an appearance because it's literally Gaia. But I don't know if, like, I actually don't know. It's really hard to know for sure, because I feel like realistically, um, there's not like a lot of mechanics where like just the mechanic itself would appear without also having the boss appear. I think that it's a possibility that if Voidwalker does appear and does either like the Quietus or does any kind of attack that forces the bats to appear, would be really, really fascinating. But if they were like clones instead of like Oracle, either Light or Darkness, that would be pretty cool. But it's kind of hard to know for sure. So I do expect Voidwalker to make some kind of an appearance, and also either have like a mech involved of some sort as well, something. But if they somehow find a way to avoid putting Voidwalker in the fight, that would be kind of a shock to me personally. I don't expect it to be like a boss fight per se, but for it to at least appear, just it kind of seems like it just like feels and seems logical personally. So like we'll see though, I'm not too sure. Next we have Leviathan. Now, as much as I love E3, I really, really love this fight. It has probably very little chance of appearing, because the aesthetic of the ultimate just gives me the personal impression that it's only going to consist of like 3 or 4 bosses at max. So even though there's so many incredible choices to choose from, for us to actually see any primals appearing is kind of like a low chance. So I don't expect we'll see any Leviathan, not even like mechanically. I just feel like the concept of it existing doesn't really make sense to me. So no Leviathan, sadly. On top of that, I mean, even as much as Leviathan is a A tier fight, Titan is an S tier fight, but I don't think that we'll see any Titan on our side of things as well either. Again, sad, but I just it would have been cool to see any formation of Titan. There is a possibility that we could maybe see a mechanic, but like whether it's like the orange, blue, or like the yellow thing. But even still, then that's like a bit of a stretch in my mind. So I don't really expect us to see any Leviathan either. And again, to go down that list to include even more to the plot, Remu is awesome, love it. Mechanically, I don't even think we'll see anything. You got the towers, you got the bird chasing, you got the you know, all the lightning falling, and then the horses running through. Like, I don't think we'll see anything Remu either. Even though, again, like S tier fight, but there's not really much to see from there. So there's that. And yet, going further into the possibility, Garuda, Ifrit, both two incredible bosses as well, combined together to make Rock the Pasta. Again, no possibility that we'll see either of them in formation, or even mechanically. I kind of won't expect it. It would be cool to see like something of the nature. Honestly, like maybe because they're the only two where they actually fuse into something. And you know, Gaia and Reen have the potential case scenario of doing the exact same thing. So I feel like we will see them maybe in some kind of light, like some kind of mechanic, but like they visually won't appear, but there is a chance that there could be something that happens where you're like, oh, this is like a, so if anything, like mechanically we might see like something, but again, visually we won't see them. Now, Idol of Darkness is kind of where the ball starts to roll a bit. I'm almost inclined to think that, like, actually, wait, let me just quickly, it makes more sense. So just kind of give like a quick swap. I switched maybe and mechanic together. It actually makes more sense if the mechanic is like yellow or like C, and then the maybe is like a B thing. So that way it kind of like works itself out. So I just wanted to kind of tell you that I swap those two. I swapped these two. That's it. Okay, back to Idol. Idol, I feel like we can see Idol. Whether it's in a tornado form, whether there's like a black versus white thing, because that's like a really huge ordeal. Honestly, I'd even be more inclined to think that there's like an appearance for it, but I think an appearance might be a bit of a stretch. Because again, I feel like they're gonna like limit the number of bosses that we might actually be seeing in total. So for this, it's kind of like a maybe. Like maybe we'll see it, maybe we won't. If we do see it, whether it's in mechanical form or even in like visual appearance, it's possible. But you know, I don't expect it to be like a super high likelihood. But you know, we'll see. Shiva, 100% confirmed. We know that for a fact. It's kind of crazy how they're putting Shiva in the fight for what it's worth too, which with it being like possessed by Metron of all things. It's confirmed that Metron possesses Shiva, and is going to be part of like rewriting the history for that as well. So obviously, without question of that whatsoever, definitely in the fight. And also both forms, I expect to see them as well. Probably going to be very scary, and also very insane and very intense, but we shall see. But Shiva definitely in there. Cloud of Darkness. You know, I'm kind of thoughtful. I feel like we could mechanically see something with Cloud. Like what it is going to be up in the air, but I'm thinking again either like a clones thing, some kind of like spread or stack thing, you know, something. It's a stretch as well, as well as these other two. It's a stretch, but I feel like something has the chance to perceive and be appeared mechanically in the fight. We won't be seeing Cloud directly, but at least something will exist there in some kind of form. So there's that. Now, Shadowkeeper, I'm going to put a big no on that one. I feel like Shadowkeeper has actual potential to not only exist as a boss in the raid tier, but also I feel like if you actually find an opportunity to create like a different ultimate that uses Shadowbringer raid content, you can actually fit Shadowkeeper in there somewhere. But I think that for the Futures Rewritten ultimate in its own instance, because again, like the Guardian kind of vibe, you know, I don't really expect Metron to find a reason to give us this dog. Even it's kind of it's such a weird thought process though, because you can totally put it in like the maybe category or even like in the mechanics category, but all things considered, I don't really think so. I know it's weird to put Prime, Rakta, and Cloud in mechanic, but to put him in the no is, again, it's weird, but that's kind of where my mindset's at, you know what I mean? So there's that at least. Fatebreaker is confirmed to be phase 1, so we know that he will be in here. What mechanics he executes is completely up in the air. We know for sure already that he channels either a fire or a lightning and then does like a quad cleave thing. Most likely it's going to be proximity based, and then there's going to be a follow-up to both of those cleaves. So he'll do 4 cleaves and then another 4 cleaves and then a follow-up thing based on the element. What the element boils down to is unclear, but there is no debuff that you get that tells you lightning or fire. You have 0 clue, but he does channel the element for a reason, most likely that we'll see in the next mechanic. So, you know, we'll find out, but 100% Fatebreaker is confirmed phase 1. Also, in a previous video that I talked about where during the observation of phase 1, Yoshi P playing Black Mage survives the first he survives the autos, but turns on by turning on God mode. He turns it off during the elemental break mechanic. So I thought that it pierced his God mode, which like would make sense, but I actually didn't realize he turned it off in between it to kind of avoid showing it to you. But he showed you that the boss does 2 cleaves 4 times in pairs, so at least you know that the first mechanic is like a Protean cones like double bait thing. So there's that. But anyways, paper confirmed. Now Eden's Promise, it's not confirmed, but I absolutely expect Eden's Promise to be in the fight, because if the boss fight is called Futures Rewritten, the objective is that the bosses would in fact need to have their history rewritten. Now, there was a boss named Eden's Promise that was deleting memories in the Eden normal version, and so I'm expecting it to, instead of not necessarily like rewrite history by, you know, by just like telling it, but more so that if you destroy certain memories that are correct or incorrect, then that's going to cause it to be written. I have a huge theory that E12 Part 1 will be in the fight, and it's going to be the giant version. And I don't expect there to be like platform destruction, but I do expect, for example, to be like, there'd be like 3 memories. A memory of like them eating like having coffee and biscuits together, like one with the necklace, or something where like they're both watching like a like a chocobo or something. And whatever reason, if the chocobo was obviously the incorrect memory, if you destroy that, then you're gonna properly rewrite the history and have the other 2 kind of exist as it is, and it'll actually fix the memories that's broken between the 2 of them. But if you destroy the wrong one, then like it might give you like a reset or have like a wipe mechanic, something of that nature. So I expect Eden's Promise to exist in phase form somehow, somewhere as a boss fight. They did confirm that there are no lions, which is the mechanic that you have to deal with in Promise. So I think you can, with like a bit of confidence, say that this fight, if there's no lions and it was iterated at, you might actually see Eden's Promise in the actual fight. This also, however, if Eden's Promise is like in the fight because there's no lions, it does open up immense opportunity for the rest of the primals to exist in some way for the fight, because there is like a memory thing that the Promise does where it like takes 2 elements together and then combines it and like does a thing. So this actually opens up the possibility for all of these bosses that we thought would never get an appearance to actually get an appearance. They might even kind of throw a curveball at us and throw a like Cloud in there, because like darkness, and then Shadowkeeper is technically Shadow, but like same thing. Like all these bosses actually have an opportunity to appear and then do something. So if Promise actually takes the memory crystal of the boss and then does a thing, then all of this actually makes it possible for the bosses to have a mechanical function. Boom. So then all of these would be in mechanics, but I expect it to not be like that though. I don't know what though, because if there's no lions, the only other possibility is that there's going to be primal crystal stuff, or you have to use Eden's Promise to destroy the crystals to fulfill the promise of being able to like rewrite the history as it's intended for oracles to be thriving. Yeah. And then last but not least, we have Oracle of Darkness herself, Gaia. She is confirmed in the fight. She has quad apocalypse. God knows what that's going to be like. And who knows what else they'll be throwing in there too. But we know for sure that she'll be in there. We did see a screenshot that shows her boss appearance looking like exactly how she did in E12 Part 2. E12 P2, she's literally there with 4 Apocalypse beams doing something with the hammer. It gets very chaotic. whatever it possibly could be. We have no idea, but we know for sure that she's in the boss fight as a whole. And of course, with that in mind, I'm expecting it to be, in terms of order, we know for sure that, you know, Fatebreaker's phase 1. I kind of can see, like, Shiva being phase 2, and then Promise being phase 3, and then Oracle being phase 4, something like that. Then it's going to have Promise destroying memories or recreating it, and then you got to refight Shiva, and then you got to like bless or like cleanse her because like the rewriting history part, like Metron is gone, right? And then you have to do the same thing with Gaia. So like destroying the crystal memories with Promise will allow you to refight Shiva without her being in Metron form, and then also you can take out the memory of Logrith for her, and then the both of them will be thankful that you actually successfully like rid Metron of both of their like memories, and then they both work together and combine. Why they combine is not entirely clear. I feel like the only reason why they would combine is to get rid of him, and by killing Prime. So as a result of that, I just thought about this. There is an actual chance that Prime could make an appearance because Metron is the first Sin Eater, right? Sessiion turns Sin Eater. He's the first one. So maybe they get rid of, they probably combine their powers together. Ooh, that'd be fire, actually. They probably combine their powers together, but because of the influence on Metron, they got to get rid of the influence. If they get rid of the influence successfully, they fuse together, and then they kill the Eden Prime. But then it's like, okay, cool, like we've done our part, but now we're still too strong. You gotta you know, vanquish and put balance to the order or whatever, and then that's how you fight them in final form. So that actually makes more sense to me. So this is actually what I might end up doing. I might actually say that if in theory, if destroying the memories as promised forces you to remove the memories of Metron from both Shiva and Gaia, it allows him to appear, and then you kill this thing, and then because they're fused together, they gotta be like stopped, and then you get rid of him, and then you fight the two of them, and then like GG's. So this is what I think, honestly. There's honestly so many theories and ways that they can actually execute the mechanic for this fight. Now, assuming, of course, we have the confirmed bosses as well as the appearance of things that appear. Obviously, I think his fight is going to be very reminiscent of E11 as a whole. We're going to see some Bound of Fates. We're going to see some elemental breaks. We're going to see some burst strikes. He'll be involved in the blasting zone with like the prismatic deception, and he'll be involved in trios. I don't really expect Promise to have like a big boss fight appearance per se, but you would need to fight Eden's Promise in order to like control the order of like the memories and how they appear and that sort of thing. I do expect Shiva to be a boss you fight, and also Light Rampant and all that fun jazz too. It'll be really insane. There might even be a mechanic called Dark Rampant. That would be wild. And then Gaia, probably similar ordeal. We'll be seeing a lot of abilities from her side of things. And then I feel like trio mechanic-wise, it'll be Gaia, it'll be Shiva, and it'll be Fatebreaker. The three of them will do a lot of trios together. Because E11 Savage has actual, I mean, even the number too, but there are literal trio mechanics in his fight. And then there are no trio mechanics per se in either of the, well, actually no, sorry, in Shiva's fight no, but in Gaia's fight yes, there's relativities. So we should be seeing various relativity mechanics from her side as well, and on top of that doing whatever you can see with that. If Voidwalker makes an appearance, then it would appear before you fight either of these two, but it wouldn't make sense to me personally. If anything, it could appear as like in a memory, because I was thinking that you have to destroy Voidwalker and then the armor appears and then the Metron influence kind of forces her to just go from Voidwalker to Oracle of Darkness, but again, I don't really think that's a possibility. And then if Eden Prime does appear, it's to basically get rid of the influence that Metron has on both Shiva and Gaia, and then force them to like get rid of it. And then because there's no more like imbalance of Sessiion influence, then they both fuse together to get rid of him, and then you got to fight them because they combined. If Idol of Darkness appears, it's because of Voidwalker, and if you were able to have Idol of Darkness as a boss, it's because you fight Voidwalker, and then you get rid of the armor. Then Idol of Darkness channels darkness into Voidwalker, and then it turns Voidwalker into Gaia. So it is possible to have it be like this too, where you fight Voidwalker, and then you see the Idol of Darkness appear, do a thing to Voidwalker, and then it just turns into Gaia. Like I can see that also being possible, as like a scenario. And then for any other particular reason, if there is a chance, somehow I don't think so though, but like the Idol of Darkness could also summon Shadowkeeper. So even though I said no for Shadowkeeper, it's possible to have it have like an appearance as well, if you want to be tested to the limits of something of the nature, but I still don't really think so. Anyways, this is the tier list as well for now until we see the future Rewritten Ultimate as a whole. So thank you so much for watching and tuning in. Let me know your thoughts. Yeah, I think that these 4 bosses will be the primaries, and then we might get some secondaries somewhere, but sadly, no primals. We're just gonna. I mean, they could genuinely just make another ultimate that uses the primals. It's absolutely possible. But yeah, so there you go. Here's my list. Hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you guys in the future's Rewritten Ultimate. So enjoy yourself, take care, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.